So the common thought out there and verbalized expression is the following. I would love to own a business because I just want to own more of my time and retake control of more of my life that I've lost. But I'm not going to because I don't want to be the weird person that everybody sees as a new business and everybody tries to avoid because of some weird invitation process. So I'm just not going to do it. Well, recently I was talking to a woman that had the same concern, so it's very normal. And stick around to the end of this video because I might say something to you that's a complete epiphany moment for you that changes the rest of your life. So I was talking to a woman who had this concern, very open with me about it, and I just simply asked her, well, would you be open to learning about a better way that might be more incongruent with who you are personally? And she said, oh, okay, sure, I'm open, I'd love to. So I showed her some very easy ways of doing it completely differently than she thought that she would have to do it in order to run a successful business that would set her free to take more control of her life. And so I showed her how to do this with people that she already knew how to approach them about her business. And she didn't pitch a single one of them. I didn't show her how to pitch anybody. I showed her how to pique people's interest, not how to create resistance. And it could be as simple as, let's say she's talking to somebody whose name is Jane. It could be as simple as, hey Jane, I just started a business. I don't think it would be for you, but you know what? You might really like the product. Would you like to look at the product to see if it's something you even want to try? If you do, cool. If not, no big deal. So she did something like that, a variation like that to several people that she knew, friends, family, and whatnot. And guess what? She wrote me back, or, we talked the next day after she went out just to see if they were open, not to pitch them, just to see if they were open. And she got back to me and she said, Tom, you know what? I took your advice and it was completely different than the last time. This time around, people were actually interested. They don't even know what it is, but they're interested in at least taking a look at the product to seeing if it's something they want to try. And then since then, some people have tried it. Some people opted not to. Some people who first opted not to try it came back later and said, you know what, I want to try it. But the point being is that their friendships continued. In fact, some of their friendships got a little bit better because there was a product introduced that, improved somebody's life and living healthier, happier, more fulfilling like. So it all worked out. It enhanced her current existing relationships, and it did the opposite of what everyone believes is going to happen. But, if you run a business the way that most people run a business, then probably what you fear to come true will probably come true. Just saying. But I'm completely different. There's very few people that start and run a business and actually teach people how to run their own business in a similar way that I am. Very few of us are doing it this way. So that sort of quashes that fear. It does. Instead of destroying relationships, you can use a business as a point of leverage to enhance them. And at the same time you're enhancing your relationships, you're forming new relationships, and you're gaining your personal freedom and independence so that you can take more control of your life back and own more of your time. That's a beautiful win-win-win for everybody, right? Of course it is. And then there's some people that have this fear of, well, I'd love to, but I don't know anybody. So then this happens too, and I'll say, this has actually happened way more than once. So it's not like it's an isolated incident and it was just a fluke. No, it's not a fluke at all. So I'd say to that person, well, are you open to learning some really simple ways of expanding your reach, making new friends, developing new relationships, making more contacts? Are you open to learning a better way than maybe some weird ways you've seen before? And usually people will say, yeah, because everybody wants to be open, right? You probably want to think of yourself as an open-minded individual. So I'm like, okay, great. So I show this person and another person and another person I've talked to some really easy ways of expanding their reach, making new friends, creating more contacts, and it had nothing to do with pitching their business or even talking about it or even fishing around for an opportunity to bring it up. It was none of that kind of weirdness. And, the next day I'll get a phone call or an email or whatever thanking me for showing them something that got them results. And it wasn't weird. It was cool. So this whole thing is about being open. Thank goodness these people that I talk to, some of them are open. Not everyone's open. A lot of people say they're open, but they're really not. But some people are. But there's a lot of people that just make statements. And maybe you watching this, you like to make statements and you sort of close the door on learning new things that could really help you out. So if that's the case, that used to be me, but I drew a line in the sand a long time ago. I did, thank goodness. some of the people I talked, the examples I've given you, they did. I just asked them, are you open? And they say, yeah, I'm open. Thank goodness they were open, because I was able to show them something they were able to use to make a radical difference in their lives, and also in the lives of people around them too. So it's bigger than them, and it's bigger than me. So why am I sharing this with you? Because, as I said in the beginning, it is a very common thought. More than 9 out of 10, maybe 19 out of 20, maybe 49 out of 50 of you watching this video, you want to own a business, not for the sake of owning a business, but you want to own a business because you want more control of your life. And I'm telling you, the best way to control your life and to have your free time freedom, it's not the financial freedom, it's the time freedom, but you need the financial freedom to have the time freedom. That's just the way that is. But the best way to get that is to own a business. Otherwise, you don't own your income, somebody else does, and that's really vulnerable. That's risky, and there's all kinds of strings attached to it. When you have an income from an asset that you own, that you control all the variables of, now you're free. Now you're free. And it's residual and it's passive. Well, now you're really free. I mean, most business owners, by the way, are not free at all. They're actually more enslaved to money than people with a job. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. The only kind of money that I teach people to build is passive and residual money. That's the only income type that creates any freedom. Most business owners do not have passive or residual. They have job money, except it's worse than job money because they don't have a company that they work for to back them up. So if they don't show up, they probably don't get paid. It's really ridiculous. And that's the reason why most business owners become business owners. They want the freedom, the flexibility, and so forth, and they get less of it than people with a job. So that's a big myth, that just because somebody's a business owner, they're going to have more freedom. That's typically not the case. Very few business owners create any freedom. And the only kind of business ownership I teach is the kind that creates freedom, which comes from passive and residual income. I do not teach any other kind of income, because every other kind of income is oppressive, it's spirit killing, and you have to sell your mind, your body, and your spirit to get it. And I will never teach anybody that, even though 49 out of 50 people are living that lifestyle, sadly. They don't even know it, but it's true. But if you have any interest in this at all, if you're looking at a business, because it's the best way to own your time and have time freedom, and the best way to build a business, start a business and build one, is to be yourself and not be somebody else. Most people that start a business become somebody else, and they got all this psychobabble that's totally weird, turns everybody off, and their biggest fears come true about what they think, the horrors of being a business owner, and everyone's going to think they're weird. It typically happens because of how they communicate with people, and it's really needless and stupid. So this is for people that like to be contrarian thinking people, considering what the mainstream is and what the mainstream teaches and the programming that goes on in mainstream. This is absolutely a successful one. Is for people that are contrarian thinking people, and people that like to use their free thinking critical assets, their brain, big time. So if that turns you on at all, and you're looking for a business to own your time and to build up that kind of income I told you about, where you create freedom, it's the only kind that creates freedom. There's no other income type that creates freedom. If that turns you on, reach out to me privately, and I'll reach back to you. I'll show you the info if you're open for it, practicing what I'm preaching. If you're even open for it, I will show you a video that I made about it, and if you like what you see in the video, we can move forward. And if you don't like what you see in the video, you don't have to do it. You can find something else that trips your trigger. But I'm going to show you how to be your true, authentic self and to pull more of your authentic self out of you, which is going to take some courage for a lot of you. It's going to take some guts, some big balls, or some big brass ovaries if you're female. And that's something that a lot of people shy away from. But I'm telling you, to pull yourself out is a scary deal. We want to protect our image from being hurt. We want to protect our ego from hurting. And that always leads to self-destructive behaviors and thought patterns when we are in the business of protecting our ego from hurting. So just a forewarning, if you're thinking about reaching out to me, just know that if we do end up locking arms and doing a home business together, I'm going to be showing you how to pull more of your true self out of you. So if you're okay with that, and you got the courage to do that, and you got the openness to learn of a better way to build a business than how most people are doing it, then I'd love to hear from you. So I'll hear from you real soon. Bye for now.